It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps. That's probably the best intro that I can think of among fish tubers right now. I get that thing stuck in my head
Yeah.
constantly. And that is our guest today, Nathan from Simply Shrimps. Nathan, hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. Thanks. Thanks for having me on. I just want to add that Ron wanted me to do this live stream first
Hey, how's it
on Boxing Day and then second on New Year's Day. So obviously, I said I couldn't do either. So third time lucky we're doing it now. So thanks for watching, everyone who's watching, and hopefully it's a good interview.
Well, unfortunately, we decided to pick a day where YouTube is broken and there's no notifications going out for live streams today. So it could be a smaller group. We have three of us on right now, but hopefully, people will pop in anyway. But unfortunately, there is no notifications today. But yeah, I was trying to get together with Nathan for a while since well before Christmas there.
Yeah.
I don't even think you had 4,000 subs yet at that time, but your channel has taken off in the last couple months. I think you were close to 4,000, maybe 3,900, but what's been going on for you lately?
Yeah, well, I'd say in the last week it's kind of taken off. I think it's because I've been setting up these shrimp tanks behind me here,
Yeah.
and obviously it's taken me a fair while to do, and the anticipation of them coming, that people have watched them. Now I finally put a video out about it, so that's been pretty good. Obviously, that's what's been going on. I've been building these shrimp tanks, expanding my collection, so to speak, of shrimp, and yeah, just enjoying the hobby, taking it easy, not rushing into anything, and just going at my own pace, pretty
So
much.
I'm just going to quickly dash back to the chat here, which we have Johan Aquatics is here. And
Yeah,
he's saying that it's been 2 days with no notifications now. So I only knew about it today. But yeah, that sucks, unfortunately. But, we're still going to have fun. There's five of us right now. We can still have a great chat with five people, right?
yeah, for sure. Got any
Okay, Nathan.
questions, everyone?
Yeah. And I also like to apologize. I'm not used to doing this during the day. I've got a reflection coming through my window here, but we'll deal with that too. So we've got a question for you, Nathan. How old were you when you started fish/shrimp keeping?
So when I properly well, I first got the first fish tank when I was 10, roughly.
Yeah.
Um, did everything wrong. Small tank, couple of goldfish. Since learnt from my mistakes, kind of thing. But when I
Hmm.
seriously got into it, I think I was about 18, 19. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I decided to go traveling for a year. So I had to sell everything, all my fish tanks, and then come
Yeah.
back. And it was only since literally starting this channel, Simply Shrimps, that I've actually got into it a lot more than I did. And I've moved out of my parents' house, so it allowed me more space to actually have what I want rather than my parents saying, oh, you can't have this many kind of thing. So I'd say properly getting into it since the beginning of this channel, I was probably about 25, 24, 25, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, right on. And I think do you still have your first tank? Because I know that you did have it in your first video that you ever did.
Yeah, it's in the garden at the moment because it was here. It
Yeah.
was sat here, and it was my coal tank basically. But yeah, all the tanks I've moved off of here are now sat in the garden, and I'm going to be getting rid of them. Other than that one, I'm going to be keeping that one because obviously it's got sentimental value. So
Right.
yeah,
So Simply Shrimps, this wasn't your first YouTube channel, was it?
cringe. No, so I wouldn't say. Yeah, YouTube. I kind of started when it kind of all kicked off. So like 2005 ish. It was me and my
Yeah.
friend. We used to make sort of like Lego stop motion animations, and we do them on my friend's channels as well. So not all the videos that I've done growing up are on
Yeah.
my channel, but yeah, that one's Gingerbread Ted. And I when we went traveling, I did some traveling videos on there. But since coming back, obviously, I said I started this. I thought I'm going to make a specific channel to the aquarium hobby because I did do some aquarium videos on that channel.
Yeah.
And some of them have done all right, really. Some of them have got like 30, 40,000 views, but it was more of a channel that I mucked around on. And I thought, no, I'm going to take this a bit more seriously and have a dedicated channel. So I formed this one.
Well, I found this channel of yours this summertime, and it was actually searching for things. So I bought this 220-gallon tank, and before I bought it, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing the buckets, hauling buckets up and down. So I was kind of searching around on YouTube, and you had a video out on how to do large water changes on a large aquarium,
Yeah.
and that was how I found you. That's a 500-liter tank. So is that what, like around a 125-gallon or something like that?
I think if you're converting it like liters to gallons precisely, I think it's 130, 132 gallons. But
Okay.
yeah, we'd probably round it down to 125 in America. Yeah.
So that tank there, you've got Alan. How is Alan doing?
Alan's doing good. He actually molted a couple of weeks ago. I didn't manage to do any video on it just because I didn't get around to it. But I've got like previous molts here, and obviously he's
Oh,
bigger
wow.
than this. So yeah, no, he's doing good. He's not eaten any fish recently, so that's good as well.
That's good. Hello, Candy. Candy's in here. Hello, Priscilla. Priscilla's in here. We missed
Hello.
we missed Priscilla's. I missed Priscilla's live stream earlier today. Not getting any notifications. It sucks, but we're still here. We're still having fun. There's 9 of us, so fire
That's
up your shrimp questions for Nathan, and we'll get on them. Where if you guys aren't familiar with Nathan, he's got a good personality, funny guy. He's got that video. I got challenged to the worst day in fish keeping, and I thought this guy's going to be a good one to do. So I challenged you, and you made it. And that video is hilarious, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought I'd put a bit of a comical twist to it. So,
What'd your girlfriend think of that one?
oh, she was in it, didn't you see? Yeah, no. She laughed at that bit because she didn't want to be in it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just let my hair down, let my luscious locks down, and do it.
She's not in any of your videos, though, eh?
No, she was in my latest one actually, because she was trying to catch the shrimp when we were updating the system. She was catching some shrimp out, so she's in it for about 6 seconds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my wife likes to be kind of behind the camera. She's not so much in front of the camera type of a person.
Yeah.
So in your 500-liter tank, you have got Alan the crayfish, and what else do you keep it in there?
So I've got an electric blue jack Dempsey,
Yeah.
an Awaru, a red spot Severum, and a black ghost knifefish. They're the 4 sort of main big fish, and I've got about 9 or so peppered Corydorus. Might be a few less because Alan might have picked one off.
Oh yeah.
But, and then I've got 4 Pandagaras, and there was originally 3 bristlenose plex, just common ones in there, but they've bred, so there's about 5 or 6 now.
Oh cool.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
What happened
So
to your
main...
tag?
What's that?
What
Sorry.
happened to your tiger barbs?
Oh, they were in my small tank.
So you still have them?
I sold them
Oh, you sold them.
when I upgraded to the bigger tank. So
I got a question from Terry Lindsay. What brought you to focusing on shrimp? Are they readily available in the UK?
it's not the availability. I think it's what got me to shrimp. I think is the fact that they are kind of like a cleanup cruise. So for having an aquarium with no heavy bioload in it, you got animals, or I should say shrimp, that are going to be cleaning it anyway. It's a fairly simple aquarium to keep. Obviously, there's shrimp that are more demanding than others to keep, so they need more specific parameters. But it's an easy aquarium to keep. They keep it clean as well. So, and the fact that like when they breed as well, their babies are like exact replicas. So it's just quite cute to see loads of little baby shrimp with the stunning markings at such a small size, and then watching them grow up, and just Yeah, I don't know. They're just nice to look at. They're always busy foraging around, just active little creatures.
So
But I
besides
wouldn't say,
shrimp, oh sorry, yes,
I wouldn't say they're becoming more readily available in the UK. But back when I first got my first ever just cherry shrimp, that was 2012.
yeah,
Uh, they were hard pressed to come by in shops. You had to kind of get them online, but in local fish shops, they are becoming more readily available, especially the rare varieties or the crystal blacks, crystal reds. You wouldn't see them in shrimp in fish shops, but now you are. So it's good to see them growing in popularity.
so besides shrimp and crayfish, which is what Alan is, in case we didn't establish
Yeah.
that, what is your favorite fish?
Favorite fish? I don't. I don't really have a. Well, to be honest, because I don't know if you know already, but I was or still am a scuba diving instructor. I'm not active though. So if we're going freshwater and saltwater, whenever I was diving, my favorite fish was Harlequin sweetlips juvenile.
Okay,
And do you know what that is?
nope.
So basically, it's a bit like some angelfish. They'll morph from a juvenile up to the adult, so they'll get different markings. But the Harlequin sweetlips juvenile, they mimic like a flatworm because flatworms are poisonous. So
Oh yeah.
they're probably only like a couple of inches big, but they'll flutter around clumsily. So
Hmm.
predators think that they're not edible. They're not going to be nice to eat because there might be a flatworm. But I just love the hypnoticness of the way they flutter around. So I suppose that brings me to liking the black ghost knifefish as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the black ghost knifefish is quite hypnotic in the way it swims, but it's quite shy, so I hardly ever see it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. I like oddballs, but I wouldn't say I've got a favorite fish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those black ghost knives are cool, but a lot of people keep them in the clear tubes just so they can see
yeah.
them
So you
from
can
time to
see them.
time.
Yeah,
So you work in a pet shop. How
yeah.
long have you worked in a pet shop?
Uh, about a year and a half now. It's not. Well, I don't know how you would say it in America, but it's not actually a pet shop. It is a specific fish shop, so we don't do anything
Fish shop.
else. Yeah.
Okay. And
Uh,
just for the record, I'm not in America either, but
oh, I'm so sorry. You're Canadian, aren't you?
that's right. But yeah, we
Across
just
the
say
pond.
yeah, like across the pond. We just say fish store. So I'm in Vancouver, which is on the right up against the Pacific Ocean
My
on
sister's in
the west coast.
Vancouver.
Your sister's been to Vancouver?
No, she lives in Vancouver.
Oh, really?
She just
What?
got a. Well, she's in the process of getting a residency, so I might be coming out this year. Hopefully,
Really? That would be that would be awesome. We could do a video.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
um, what part of what part of the UK you living in?
The it's fairly central. It's like the furthest you can get from the sea, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
In the East Midlands. So yeah, it's this is like how I would describe it to most people when I was traveling because people always ask you where you're from. It's
Yeah.
about an hour and a half north of London.
Okay.
There you
I've
go.
been to London. I've done quite a bit of traveling myself.
Yeah,
Uh, not so much crazy trips lately because now I've got two young kids. It was Disneyland last year in San Diego,
yeah.
but I've spent months over in Europe. I've spent months over in Australia and Asia and stuff like that. Traveling's a big hobby of mine as well. So that's nice to hear that it's one of yours too.
There you go.
Australia. There you
So
go.
yeah, that was
So where,
where we stayed out because me and my girlfriend, yeah, we got working visas out there, so we were living out in Australia for about 6 or 7 months. So
uh, what did you go scuba diving there?
yeah, I actually worked out there as a dive instructor on the reef up in Cairns. So
Really?
yeah.
Because I went out to the reef in Cairns.
Oh yeah. What company did you go with?
I can't remember. The year would
Really?
have been 2006. 2006. I was
Oh
out there.
yeah, about 10 years before I was. So
Okay.
I bet
Yeah,
it's changed a lot.
probably. I spent a couple months. I started in Cairns, worked my way down to Bonsai Beach in Sydney, and then went to China after that.
Oh nice.
But yeah, that was a good trip. Sorry, let's get back to the chat here for a sec here.
Yeah.
Kind of gone off track with traveling, but Hey, Ernie's here. Ernest Aquatics. Hello, Ernie. First time you made a stream. What's going on, my friend? We do have some questions. We had one from where is it? Neil Woodward. What do you feed your shrimp?
What do I feed my shrimp? Um, well, I tend to keep like leaves or leaf litter in most of the tanks, so they've got some Indian almond leaves in there. Also, if you want free food, I feed them like stinging nettles. I've got a load that, when I say a load, I literally mean like that's probably one pile of about 3 piles. I've got of stinging nettle leaves, dried them out, so then you can feed them all year round. Just boil them up and blanch them. So that's kind of natural food. Oh, they've fallen apart everywhere. And then I also feed some little pellets. They're Hikari shrimp cuisine, and that's kind of, I just put a sprinkle in each tank every now and then. And then just a mixture of things. So I've got Shrimp King food. I've got other food products that people have sent me to kind of try out. So I just vary the diet. But as a staple, I feed the Hikari shrimp cuisine, just because there's loads of little pellets and everything gets a chance of getting it. And then I'll obviously every now and then, so every other day, every two or three times a week, I'll feed like Shrimp King Complete, or something a bit more stable. Yeah.
Right on. Sorry, I cut out and froze on my side for a bit, so I missed a bunch of the answer, but I'll catch it on the replay. We do have another question here from Johan Aquatics. What kind of shrimp did you start with?
So as I said earlier on, in 2012, the first ever shrimp I got were the cherry shrimp, just like pretty much clear cherry shrimp, no vivid markings, because they were like 99p each. I thought, oh, bargain. So I got 10 of them, spent a tenner. And then after that, I got Amano shrimp, because I still think they're one of the best sort of cleaning shrimp for algae.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then since coming back from traveling, as I said, I've branched out and got some crystal reds and crystal black shrimp, and then blue dreams, which are basically blue cherry shrimps. And now with this new setup, I'm going to expand even more. But the first ever shrimp I got was the classic cherry shrimp, nice and cheap and cheerful.
They're super cheap now. They were expensive when I started, but now they're now you can get about, what did I spend? It was about $10, got me 20 or something like that.
Exactly.
So that's pretty good. The red crystals are a little more expensive. So when I kind of jumped back into the hobby a few years ago, like when I was a kid, there was no shrimp to have. But when I jumped back into the hobby a few years ago, I started with cherry shrimp. They were doing really well. And then I got some black and red crystal shrimp. Now, I never saw any shrimplets come from them, and I had just thrown them into my water with the cherry shrimp. And about 6 months later, I had no more crystal shrimp. All I had left was the cherry shrimp. What would you recommend for someone starting out with the Cardinian?
Just make sure you have your water parameters matched to around what they like. So they prefer a lower pH, a lower TDS, total dissolved solids of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just do your research basically, because I've made a mistake of keeping the crystal blacks with some cherry shrimp, and most of the cherry shrimp have pretty much fizzled out because the water parameters are suited around Caridina shrimp, so the crystal blacks. Yeah, if you're going to keep a shrimp, make sure the water parameters match what it needs. Otherwise, yeah, they're not going to like it, and they just won't breed, and they'll die of old age. They might still survive, but yeah, they just won't breed because they're not happy. Yeah.
Just like to say hello to Anthony, Long Island Fish Guy. Thanks for coming over, my friend. So we were talking about that you worked in the pets or fish store for about a year and a half. Is your end goal to own one day?
I would not a retail shop. I wouldn't want to, not really. I'd like to do sort of more behind the scenes kind of supplying to pet shops, but not necessarily owning a pet shop.
Okay. So like breeding or like being involved in the importing of it and stuff like that?
Not import, but like breeding, like sort of, Robert Flip Aquatics.
Yeah.
he's kind of concentrating on making USA bred shrimp. So he's imported some and then he's breeding in the US.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, but in the UK kind of scale.
Okay, so working at the pet store, do you get a discount?
Yeah, yeah. Cap's nose.
But you didn't
Yeah,
get those tanks there from that pet store that you work at, right?
yeah, because I bought the actual frame of the tank and then I obviously siliconed in the dividers and resealed them. But yeah, I bought them because yeah, custom made tanks there.
So
Yeah,
that those four tanks there, for the people that haven't seen your last two videos, can you explain to them what you did, how you drilled them and put them together and just had the water flowing?
yeah. So um, it's officially well, it's technically one big tank, and then I've got some glass dividers which I've got some spare on top here. Oh gosh, back in the place. And then I drilled about 10 centimeter diameter holes in them, and then silicon some wire mesh on to stop the shrimps going through, or so
Right.
I thought.
Yeah, yeah.
And then silicon them in to basically make 4 individual tanks in one big body of water. So the water parameters are more stable, but yeah, you keep 4 species. But since setting up, some of the shrimp have got through, only little babies. So I'm going to have to put some sponge in there or re-silicon in smaller grade mesh. Uh, but yeah, I set them all up pretty much from scratch. I like getting my hands on and doing things myself. So
Yeah, you've got quite a few DIY videos actually. Actually, I believe your biggest video ever has got 227,000 views last I saw, which
yeah,
was on making your DIY stand. That's a talent that you have, woodworking and DIY and all that kind of stuff. Big part of the hobby for you.
yeah. I mean, I like getting hands on. I always like as a kid growing up at college, I did product design, and at school, I was always I wouldn't say top of the class because that's quite big headed, but I was quite good at the metalwork and the woodwork and the art and things like that.
Yeah,
I like doing that kind of thing. I think it gives some satisfaction knowing that. So the tank stand build that you were talking about,
yeah,
the cost of actually buying one to fit that size tank, I think I looked into it, was probably about £500-600,
right,
and the cost of actually making one was about half that. So you save money, but in the long run, you're not, because if you put in the man hours and you add it up, it probably
right.
about the same. But you get the satisfaction that you've built it yourself. So yeah, I like that kind of DIY aspect. And same with like, I haven't dabbled in marine tanks yet, but the whole plumbing and getting a system working, you're basically making the heart and soul, the the bodily functions of a tank, but by
Right.
plumbing things together. So I think that yeah, the satisfaction of knowing that you're doing something that's going to work and you see results from it, it's nice.
Plus, you got
That's
the make a
that's it.
video where you have 227,000 views on it. You've got a
That
few
always,
videos that have really taken off like that. What's any tips for other YouTubers out there to get those big blow up videos?
well, none of them are really expected, to be honest. Like, you obviously make video. I think if your heart's in the right place, you make videos because you want to make videos. You don't make videos because they're gonna go viral or anything like that. It's nice when they do, and
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, you do like it, but I wouldn't, especially when you're first starting out, I wouldn't rely on a video getting that many views. Just do it because you want to do it, and then also be yourself as well, because then you get the right crowd following you. If you're someone that you're not, then you're going to get people following you. And then if they meet you in person, or they see you in another video and you have a different personality, then
Yeah.
they're not like that. So just be yourself and make the videos you want to do it in your own time, and you'll get the right crowd following you if you're starting out on YouTube.
Well, I think it was your third video. That one did pretty well for you. Is that something that like you saw that video come out, get a bunch of views, and then you're like, oh, I'm really gonna do this? That helped motivate you?
Which one was that? The duckweed one?
Yeah.
Um, I remember when that kind of took off, I was like, oh my gosh, it's getting like 20 views a day, or
Yeah.
something not that significant. But because one of my first videos. It does obviously drive you to make more videos, but no, I kind of just wanted to make more videos because, as I said, as we mentioned earlier on, I did have a previous YouTube channel, so I've always liked kind of making videos that were silly, pointless videos, and to actually put them to a theme. And since working in a fish shop as well, I've got that kind of regular content.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked doing that kind of thing, so that's what kind of pushed me on in the journey.
We talked about right at the beginning your intro, and Spank My Fish is on here, and he's wondering if you'll sing it live for us.
Who's this?
Spank My Fish.
Oh, get out. That's my manager from work.
Oh. So can we hear it?
Go on then. It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps.
It's the best. It's the best intro out there. So what was it like to meet George Farmer? And how did that come about?
So how it came about is I feel embarrassed now with my managers in the chat now. So there was an event in the UK called Aqua Expo, and it was down in London.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down to see what it was all about, kind of thing, with Aaron's Aquarium. Michael.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So I went down there, saw George Farmer down there, got talking. We didn't actually talk about doing a collaboration, but the guy who hosted it, so Aqua Depot, I'd been to his shop before, and we got talking, and he said, if you want to come down, I can arrange something with George. So he basically arranged it, and then we did that collaboration together. And I'm actually seeing him again next weekend. Not intentionally, but we're going to the same sort of event again. There's an opening of an aquascaping shop in like a town a few hours away. Whether something else will come out of that, I don't know. But no, it was good. He's a nice guy, very talented. So
you've actually done a couple of interviews now. How do you like doing that? How do you like doing that? And maybe talk about everyone that you've done so far.
I've done George Farmer.
Yeah.
I did Chris Lucat, the Shrimp King.
The Shrimp King, yeah. How was that one?
That was really good, actually. It was very sort of on the spot, because that was when I went to Germany, and it was a 3-day event, and that was on the first day. And I was totally unprepared, thinking, we'll do it later on in the sort of event kind of thing. And I was like, are you free to do an interview? I'd messaged him before, and he goes, oh, yeah, sure. When do you want to do it? I was like, I don't know. It's like, well, we can do it now. It's quiet. I was like, oh, gosh, I've got no questions to ask you. So I had to go back to the hotel, which is only a 15-minute walk away, get a notepad from off the side, and write some questions on it, and go on Instagram, YouTube, and see what people had wanted me to ask him.
Yeah.
And then went back and literally did it like a couple of hours after he asked me to. So it was a bit on the spot, but it was good. He's a really nice guy, very down to earth, and he's good to interview, because when you ask him a question, he'll sort of extrapolate on it, and he'll fill in the blanks. So very nice guy.
So let's get back to another shrimp question for you. What's the hardest shrimp you've had to keep, and what's the hardest shrimp out there to keep?
The hardest shrimp I've kept, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the hardest shrimp I've kept. It's just that I've kept it in the wrong parameters, so it's not done as well as it should do. But I'd say it's the Caridina species as a whole, because they're a bit more specific. Whereas if you have the Neocaridina, so the cherry shrimp, they'll pretty much live in a muddy puddle, so to speak. Not actually, but so the Caridinas, because they're more specific. But the hardest shrimp out there to keep, I think, would be the Sulawesi shrimp. Sulawesi.
And
because they like quite a harder water. So yeah, not many people keep them, and they're quite hard to breed in captivity as well.
So what shrimp do you not have that you really want to have?
So the expensive ones. um, I'm hoping. I think I did say I want some blue bolts. I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to be getting some blue bolts in here, yeah, they're quite expensive anyway. And then I was looking into getting some fish bones, which are the Caridina species as well. Looking
Fish
into it,
bones?
fish bone
Oh, I don't.
pintos, yeah. Looking
Oh,
into
cool.
them, they're like 50, 60 pound a pop. So to get a breeding quality, you're looking at quantity, you're looking at, yeah, 500 to £1,000. So I'll probably look at something a little bit low key first. So I was looking into getting some zebra pintos, and they're about 10 to £12 each. So for
Okay,
100,
yeah.
£150, you can get 10, 15, which is still a lot, but it's a challenge and they're spectacular. So I'd like to obviously expand my knowledge myself. So the best way to expand your knowledge is first-hand experience.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And you know what? It's fish. You're gonna spend money on it. I
It
went
is.
down to I'm about 2.5 hours north of Aquarium Co-op, and
Yeah.
I went down there in the spring and spent 300 American. So you know what? This is what
What
it
did you
is.
buy?
I bought some Archer fish, 3 of them, which I still have here. The same ones that are in Corey's 800 gallon.
Yeah.
I bought uh, blue blue phantom pleco, which is still in here. I bought a pair of super red bristlenose, which one of them is since passed, but I have the other one. And a pair of my son got a pair of Apistogramma cacatoides super reds. And then I
Nice.
bought a bunch of plants and that sponge filter in the corner and things like that.
Did you get discount being a YouTuber?
I did not. I
Really?
I only had went in the spring, so I only had a couple hundred subs at the time. So you
Yeah.
know, and he wasn't there anyway. But I've had him on since, and he's a
Yeah,
great
no,
guy.
that was good. Good interview.
Um, so I think this is in one of your videos where you talk about like your fish room, and part of the fish room is stuff that your girlfriend has. And how does that go? Like, does she mind all the YouTubing, all the shrimp fish keeping, all the tanks and all that stuff?
Charlotte, do you mind all the fish tanks? Do you mind all the fish tanks? Do you like them? Yeah. Yeah, she likes them, but she doesn't want anything to do with them.
So she doesn't mind that you spend money and spend time on it as long as she doesn't have to do anything?
Yeah, I mean, we share the room, but it's a spare. We basically got a two-bedroom house, so it's 2 up, 2 down, pretty much. And the spare bedroom is pretty much behind the camera. You're never going to see that as viewers because it's a dumping ground, but that's her space as well. So, yeah, she likes the big tank as well. She likes the fish in it, but it's kind of like you keep it looking nice and I'll like it, but I've got nothing to do with it.
Where's the big tank in the main part of the
Oh,
house?
it's downstairs in the living room.
Right. And that's
Yeah,
the same one that Alan climbed out of, right?
yeah, yeah.
So what other plans have you got going for videos coming up for you?
Um, I've got a series I'm thinking about doing. So, did you see my Christmas one with the little Santa at the beginning?
I have not seen the Christmas one yet.
Okay, so I did like a Lego Santa at the beginning, doing like a stop motion, so he's like walking on. Um,
Okay.
so I've got the complete set of Lego Reef, so loads of Lego marine fish, and
Yeah.
I want to do a little series of building them and then animating them with stop motion. So that there's 15 of them. So in theory, that's about 15 videos. Um, Other than that, it's like as and when opportunities come up for making videos. So as I said, next weekend I'm going to the opening of an
Yeah.
aquascape shop,
Yeah.
and George is going to be there. So who knows? In the summer, we might have something else that we'll do again together. But there'll be a video coming out of the opening of that. Uh, Obviously, new tanks. I'm going to be getting new shrimp, so unboxing videos.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, obviously, my channel is Simply Shrimps. I've not actually done a care guide on how to care for shrimp, ironically. So I do want to bring out one of them, but I want it to be sort of like quite polished. So I want to work on one of them.
So you're gonna do neocardinia and cardinia,
Yeah,
caradinia.
yeah,
So
different
you got
species.
them mixed together in that tank there. And you
Yeah,
said earlier that when you suit the water parameters more to the Caridina, how do the Neocaridina stay alive then?
they don't.
They don't.
They kind of they because Neocaridinus, the cherry shrimp, they are much more hardy than the
Yeah,
Caridina species. So I
yeah.
thought I'd make the tank to suit the Caridina species, and the Neos should be okay. But yeah, there's some in there, but they've kind of fizzled out, which is why there's another tank below this, and that's
Yeah.
just going to be up for the Neo Caridina, so all the cherry shrimp. So then the parameters will be spot on for both of them, and then they should start breeding like rabbits.
So what do you do to the water for those crystal shrimp?
The water in this tank here is reverse osmosis water, and I remineralize it with the salty shrimp, B shrimp GH plus. I don't know where that is. It's probably downstairs, but yeah. So I remineralize it to a TDS of around 150 to 200, and the buffering substrate at the bottom here that buffers it
Hmm.
to the low sixes. So that keeps that on par. But with the tank underneath, I'm going to be putting the Neocaridinus in. I might just use tap water and dechlorinate that, and just have an inert substrate in the bottom.
What do you? How often do you do water changes for them?
About obviously I'd measure the parameters and make sure they're okay. But
Yeah.
every other week, once. Yeah, so not as often as my big tank downstairs. I'm literally doing 1 or 2 water changes a week on that because they're very messy fish. But yeah, I'd say between once a fortnight to once a month, and then I only do about 10 or 15%.
Okay. So you mentioned your duckweed video there earlier. What are some of your favorite aquatic plants?
I like moss. Moss is good.
Yeah.
Shrimp like moss as
Oh,
well. Actually, I did just come across a new favorite maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it's
yeah.
actually going to be featured in my next video coming out, and that is Hydrophila heterophylla, and it's
Oh,
quite a
yeah.
nice sort of bushy plant. So it grows up all bushy, and then if you cut it, it'll fork out and it kind of goes out more. But I've not had too much experience actually playing around with too many plants, so as my knowledge grows and my experience expands, I might get a new favorite. But it's quite an easy plant to keep. It grows quite quickly, and it's a nice sort of bushy background plant.
And the moss is good to help for breeding too, right?
Yeah, yeah, because it obviously gets the biofilm on it, so the little shrimplets like to forage among it.
So we've
Yeah.
got a couple more people that have got into the chat here. We have got Adrian Castillo Jr. here, and we've got Lisa's Fishbowl Life here. Hello, we're just chatting with Nathan from Simply Shrimps. If anyone in the chat here has got questions for him, please feel free and ask anything about his YouTube channel, shrimp, or his crayfish Alan. Can you put more than one crayfish together? Because I see them together when they're small, but when they get bigger,
Um. Yes and no. I think if the tank's big enough, so in theory, I probably could put a female or another one in the tank that he's in.
mm-hmm.
And the thing that annoys me, not going off topic but staying on it a little bit, is when you go on Wikipedia or you go on the sites looking for the correct size, because it's actually an Australian red-clawed crayfish, so Churax quadricorinitus is how I pronounce it, and they get to about 7 or 8 inches, possibly even more, and they say that the recommended tank size is only about 29 gallons,
Wow,
which is
yeah.
actually tiny. It's what he was actually originally in. and he could barely kind of turn around. So to put him in a 130-gallon tank, 500 liters, to see him actually roaming around and being able to walk from the back and front, it's just amazing to kind of replicate the natural environment a bit more. But yeah, so if the tank's big enough, I'd say you probably could get away with it, but I'd say with caution. Yeah.
We've got a question here from Adrian. Is there been a shrimp that you haven't been able to keep alive?
The yellow Neocaridina shrimp, so yellow fire shrimp. And that simply goes down to, again, putting it in the wrong environment. So it was in a tank with buffering substrate, so it just didn't do well. It wasn't happy enough to breed. They lived, but they fizzled out, dying of old age.
Right. Have you kept any of the tangerine tiger or tiger shrimp?
No, but I do want to get just the normal plain tiger shrimp to go, because they like the same parameters as the Neocaridina, so I'm going to put them in the bottom tank down there. But again, limited for space. I can only have 4 species in the top and 4 in the bottom, and if I'm wanting Neocaridinas and Caridinas,
Yeah.
There's so much I can do without getting them crossbreeding as well. So in the future, in a year or two's time, if I expand, if we move house, if I get a unit or something like that, then by far, I'm going to be expanding my shrimp even more. So fingers crossed that I'd love to dabble with them, but space permitting, I just don't have the space. So, but I would love to.
I mentioned that before, that I had the red and black crystal shrimp and they fizzled out for me. I did have the tangerine tigers as well, and they actually bred. They were pretty easier to keep, I think. Not too much more difficult than a regular cherry shrimp. I got a question from Lisa's Fishbowl. What's your opinion on ghost shrimp?
We don't really get them too much in the UK. They're more sort of feeder shrimp. So if you wanted to buy some ghost shrimp, you'd buy them as food for, say, like your lionfish or something like that. But we don't really sell them in the UK as shrimp to keep. So I've not had experience with them. So
they're dirt cheap here too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Even like if you're going to like a PetSmart or whatever, that's kind of like the big chain store. A cherry shrimp there is like $5.99. A ghost shrimp is $1.20. So it's pretty cheap. Yeah, Lisa's just mentioning that she's got them in a small 5-gallon tank just to clean it. Well, I mean, normally the YouTube isn't broken and we have much more people in the chat, but it's been fun. Nathan, I'm all out of questions here, and we've got 7 people in the chat today, so we don't have a ton of questions filtering in from there today. So I think we might call it at 45 minutes. But thank you so much.
My beer yet.
You're not even finished your beer? Oh man. Okay, well, let's see how fast you can drink your beer.
No, let's promote sensible drinking.
Well, thank you so much. This was a little difficult to arrange because you're in the UK and I'm 8 hours behind you over on the west coast of Canada here. But yeah, if you're coming out to visit your sister sometime, give me a shout. And
sure,
thanks for coming on. Have you got a regular schedule of when you like to put your videos out?
I try to put them out every Wednesday, time permitting and technicalities. If all goes to plan, every Wednesday, once a week. So yeah, if you guys on this channel here have liked my content, then shameless plug, head over to my channel and hit that subscribe. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe to this channel as well. So
thanks, buddy. What about live streams? Do you think you're going to try one of your own? You did one, right?
What's that?
You've done one, right?
I've not done a live stream. I've done a premiere.
Right.
But not a live stream. This is actually my first live stream, so you've stolen my live stream virginity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take it. That's a notch on the belt.
Yeah. No, this is literally my first live stream. I have contemplated it, but I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do one on. So if anyone has any ideas, then leave them in the comments. But yeah, maybe in the future. Maybe.
Right on. So thanks very much, Nathan. It's all about shrimp, simply shrimps. And thank you so much for coming on, my friend. It was great to have you. And
Thanks for
everyone,
being on
check out Nathan's channel. Um, and we'll see everybody next week. Next week, I'm not sure. I'm kind of working out. It's going to be another weird time. It's just kind of how the guests work. But it's probably going to be Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And it's probably going to be Brendan Flynn from Flynn's Fish Forum. And yeah, we hope everyone stops by to join. And unfortunately, the YouTube notification didn't work out this week, but you know what? We still had a great time with Nathan. So thanks very much, Nathan.
It's fun. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Later, everyone.